Hi, so Nathan McCartney here. My friend Jamie asked me to answer some questions about this band we played in together called 1967. Um, I've had a really busy weekend though. A lot of stuff going on this weekend. So a promise is a promise, and a friend is a friend. So I'm gonna answer these questions, but I got I got some stuff I gotta do. Yeah. Okay, so when did I start playing guitar? I started playing guitar, I guess, when I was about 14 years old. What prompted me to pick up a guitar? Loneliness. Didn't have a whole lot of friends. I have even fewer friends now. My first concert was actually a little band called White Cross. I have been really influenced by Phil Keaggy, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Bill Steer, Michael Amott, Christopher Parkening. Right now, I'm really into Martin Lascesi of the band Martin Cowboy. One of my favorite bands is a band called The Beards from Adelaide, Australia. They have 4 albums, I think is it 52 songs. Every single song is about beards. Who am I listening to right now? Mostly the sound of warning lights going on in my car, and the sound of my own heart beating in terror. How come I picked up a guitar over other instruments? The truth is, actually, I didn't pick up guitar over other instruments. I'm one of those jerks that I can play pretty much any instrument you put in my lap, and I'm sorry, makes some people jealous. What kind of gear am I using right now? It's January 2021 while I film this. Nobody's playing anywhere. Like, there's no concerts, no live music. So I'm kind of not really using much of a setup. I am, however, recording right now, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I still use Cool Edit Pro on an Acer laptop, run through a Boss BR8, and I play a Siegel S6 acoustics. I'm playing a lot of horns these days. Actually, I'm playing a lot of trombone and tuba for this new project I'm working on that I should keep kind of hush-hush. Or you can just check my YouTube channel. Who do I sound like? I sound like me. I've been told I sound like Jethro Tull, which is kind of interesting because I don't think I've ever heard a Jethro Tull song in my life. Apparently I sound like somebody that would play in a band like 1967. I mean, you're welcome to check out my YouTube channel, Nathan McCartney, and you'll hear firsthand what I sound like. Which bands am I playing with now? Well, right now, again, it's January 2021, and nobody's really playing with much of anybody these days, but I did have a nice little outfit called Nathan McCartney and the Petulant Children going for a while. And Rob Japanis actually was playing drums for that on a couple gigs. And I had about 8 other musicians I called on. And that band, I was actually kind of took a cue from Jamie in the way that he approached 1967. And I built the band around me and just said, as long as I got 3, maybe 4 guys, we got a show. Hopefully we'll get back to that. Hopefully a lot of things will be different. How did I meet those band members? Various other bands and various deals gone wrong and various opportunities, and mostly all of us are kind of keeping each other's secrets. Do I sing in the shower? Yes. What songs do I sing? 1967 songs. Just 1967. Only 1967 songs. Exclusively 1967 songs. Don't tell Jamie because I'm sure I'll have to pay him royalties. Freaking sellout. How many songs did I write with the band 1967? I didn't write any songs with the band 1967. When I write songs, normally what I do is I come up with ideas that I think to myself, that's the dumbest idea anybody's ever come up with, but I can't stop thinking about it. So I just kind of sit down with my guitar and flesh it out, and occasionally I'll film it and put it on YouTube. But I like to write songs about things people don't usually write songs about. Who and what inspires me to make music? everything. Who do I most like to collaborate with? Or anybody with talent and drive. Anybody who's got motivation and the skills to back it. Who first got me into music? I'm gonna have to go with my parents, specifically my dad. My dad wasn't a musician necessarily. He sang and he loved theater, but he didn't like play guitar or piano or anything like that. But to this day, one of my biggest bass influences is just listening to my dad sing in church. He had this really rumbly bass voice, and I thought it was the coolest thing. He knew he had a real place in his heart for bass lines, and he would sing them. And like anytime a song came on the radio, he would usually sing along to the bass. And I have performed all over the West Coast. I have been in bars and churches and theaters, street corners. Where's my favorite place to play? Any place that has a good audience. If I could open a show for any one artist, who would it be? Alan Doyle and the Beautiful Gypsies. What I'd like to accomplish in my musical career, I'd like to make music that lasts, because I won't. The craziest thing that has ever happened on tour. Are we filming this? I was on tour with the Celtic group. We were a totally low budget tour. Did the whole thing in an 88 Dodge Caravan and a 2001 Chevy Astro. And we literally slept in our cars between gigs. And we were outside of Newport, Oregon. We just finished up a gig, and we'd driven north, and we had another gig later that night. But it was somewhere around, I guess, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were all dog tired, so we found this park, and it said no parking between between sunset and sunrise. And we were like, it's 5, there's no way, the sun's gonna be up in just maybe an hour and a half or something like that, so let's just pull over here, it's nice and flat, and let's get some shut-eye. And so we did. I woke up about an hour or so later to the sound of a tow truck, and I opened my eyes and here's and everything like that, and I stood up and I looked out the back window, and I locked eyes with the tow truck driver, who literally just kind of looked at me, took his coffee, put his coffee back, popped it in reverse, and pulled out. And I thought that was kind of weird, and I looked down and realized I was butt naked. Hope you're doing well for yourself there, tow truck driver. Thanks for not towing us. Somewhere out there is a tow truck driver saying, yeah, this one day I was in Newport, Oregon, and I was going to tow this 88 Dodge Caravan with this naked guy stood up in the back of it. Here we go, 1967. When did I first meet the band? Jamie and I met back in 1997. He was in a band called Prozac Staple, and I was playing in a couple bands at the time. Our bands would end up playing together. He introduced me a couple year or so later to Rob Chapanis, and invited me to play bass for his brother's old band, Pullin' Be Damned. And that was in 2003. Loved playing together. Loved playing with those guys. Loved playing that music. But then we had Gary Galanis playing bass, and then later Connor Cairns playing bass. We did also have Nick, an additional rhythm guitarist, and a guy named Colin playing drums for us on a couple occasions. I gotta give Jamie props for this. He did a genius move where Jamie, he can play guitar, bass, and drums, and sings, of course, and he, of course, wrote these songs and knows all the instrumentation and tracking, so when he started the band, as long as we had Jamie and 2 other members, myself and Rob, or Rob and Gary, or Rob and Connor, or myself and Connor, or something like that, as long as there was 3 of us, Jamie and at least 2 other members, there was a show. How long did I play for 1967? I think I might still actually be a member, because especially because we're down 1 member right now. But I mostly played when Jamie was living in Washington. It was the summer of 2013. He called me up and said, hey, you want to play maybe half a dozen shows this summer with a band I've started called 1967. And I hadn't played in a band in about 10 years at that point. And I said, yeah, actually that sounds great. What was supposed to just be a couple months through the summer turned out to be about 3 years. Where did we rehearse? There's a cabin in the woods Jamie was living in out in Cedar Woolley that literally just had 2 rooms and 2 stories. It was really just like a room and a loft, and we were able to cram 4 of us, myself and Rob's drum set and Jamie and Jordan was, I think, was the name of the bass player. He kind of disappeared. Not that I know anything about that. Oh, by the way, I might need a cabin in the woods here pretty soon. Okay, we gotta stop the camera there. How many albums did I perform on in 1967? I'm not actually on any of the albums. There are some videos of me playing live with the band. What are my favorite 1967 songs? Here, I'll tell you as I go along here. Just follow me. My favorite 1967 songs. Gonna have to go with Dead End Life. That one was always really fun to play because it had that little dun 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 kind of thing. And Flatlining Softly was one of the best. I think one of our most underrated songs was called Miss Her When She's Gone. That was a great tune. We didn't play that one enough, honestly. Then there was Everyone Let's Have Some Fun. That was a good one. What did I enjoy the most about performing live with 1967? Honestly, I really liked getting paid. It was a really nice experience to show up and walk away with $75 to $100 or more every time we played for a couple hours. I mean, playing good music with your friends, where can you go wrong, you know? Who do I still play with that was in 1967? Again, these days I kind of got other things on my mind, unfortunately. But Rob played with we played together a few times, and kept in touch with everybody as much as I can. But right now, there's not a lot of live music going on. I don't know if there will be again anytime soon. My scariest moment with 1967. This one time, we had a bar fight break out, and that really sucked. Bar fights are no fun. They always, well, they tend to end badly. The most recent concert I attended was Postmodern Jukebox. Musical idols I would like to meet before I meet my demise. Well, I would love to pick John Petrucci's brain for a while, and really anybody from the band Dream Theater, but Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. Neil Peart, rest in peace, unfortunately. I guess we'll never have that chance. But I've met Alan Doyle of Great Big Sea, so met one of my heroes there, and Sean McCann as well. I got to talk to them. These days, anybody that will give me a job, I really appreciate that. I met Rod Stewart in a Chinese restaurant in Scotland once. That was pretty cool. Come on. Quick, come on. Multitasking. Got to get a lot of stuff done this weekend. Success in the music industry. Getting paid and playing music you like for an appreciative audience. That's really all there is to it. My favorite 1967 show, there was one in particular that we played at the Main Street Bar and Grill in Ferndale, just north of Bellingham, Washington. Gary Galanis was playing bass for us that night. We were setting up, and there was about 8, 10, about a dozen, like 20-something, 30-something girls there that were there for a bachelorette party. Halfway through set 2, Maid of Honor came up to us and said, "Hey, so The bride is a huge AC/DC fan. You all happen to know any AC/DC songs? You know that saying, hold my beer? It was literally hold my bass. He took his bass, shoved it in my hands, and said, I got this, guys. And just said, it's all either A, D, or C, maybe G. Just follow me. And we did Shook Me All Night Long, Hell's Bells, and a couple other, just as many AC/DC songs as we could think of. And Gary, he had the voice, he had the swagger, he had all that, and the girls loved it. They had a great time. And I remember that was one of the nights we looked down at our tip jar and we had a $100 bill down there. And yeah, we had a lot of great shows. That one though was one of the best shows I've ever played in my life with any band. It was tons of fun. The way the music industry operates today, well, it's not like it used to be, I can tell you that. Nowadays, if you're not on YouTube and you don't have, at least 250,000 subscribers from the get-go, you're not really getting much anywhere. The internet has been a mixed blessing, to say the absolute least. On the one hand, everybody's got a voice and a platform. It's done a lot of great things for a lot of really talented musicians who wouldn't get noticed otherwise. It's also completely changed the playing field. Saying the market is oversaturated is like saying the Pacific Ocean is a little wet. There are people everywhere, phenomenal talents, just at the click of a mouse or your phone screen or something like that. It's overwhelming. It's a lot harder to make money as a working musician these days as a result. Either that or I just haven't figured it out yet. It's entirely possible. What would I be doing right now if it wasn't for my music career? Well, again, it's January 2021, so I don't really have much of a music career. I spend most of my days covering my tracks. The best advice I've ever been given: don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things. One message I'd get to my fans: thank you. Seriously, thank you. Things are kind of weird right now, but I will be back out there playing again before too long. And I'd love to see each and every one of you all there when I do. If I could change any one thing about the music industry, I would get rid of this virus so we could get out and start gigging again. What's next for me is hopefully getting vaccinated and staying out of trouble and getting out and gigging for people again. No, unfortunately, I don't have any upcoming shows because nobody has any upcoming shows. But hopefully, things will change here before too long. What's the most trouble I've ever gotten into? Oh, God. What's the most useless talent I have? Well, I have this knack for coming up with zany ideas while doing interviews that may or may not necessarily pan out the way that I hope they will. But oh God!